I mean, we said it was going to happen at the start of the day. Order win two, lose one. I'm expecting that they take out the next game, but this is a much better showing from AV, a much better result at least, Juves.
Yeah, we have. Well, I think we have a series on our hands now. This is where you see panic start to creep in, and you
Hmm.
still have no pressure. There's no pressure on Avant, and so I'm excited because that was the first game we got to see AV play League of Legends.
What is it about the way that they changed up their gameplay that got them this win? Because I mean, they did win this, right? This wasn't an order loss.
No, I think so. We were talking about the first two series, right? The first game I think we put down to draft. I think the draft was just unplayable.
Hmm.
The second series was just we're talking about some very uncharacteristic mistakes. Second, and then the third game, this game that they finally won, it looked like a team that five players were following one call. And the best analogy I ever got from a coach in League of Legends sometimes was you're not going to make the correct decision every game, right?
Mm.
As a team, you'll never make the correct decision all the time unless you're winning worlds, as an example, okay? And so if you have five people following an average call or a call that's not necessarily great, but
Mm.
five people are doing it and they believe in it, it might work out for you. It probably will work out for you because on the other hand, you have a team that's hesitating and three people decide to do one thing and two decide the other. So to go to the point, the two games before, AV looked like they were disjointed. Four people were making one decision and the other
Hmm.
one was, running away, and it didn't look like a cohesive unit. And in this game, whether it was the right call or the wrong call, sometimes some questionable teleports and questionable, team fights, but there was five people going hard, skill checking their opponents, outplaying their opponents, and it worked out for AV.
I mean, that's just good life advice, right? Like, when in doubt, just make a decision. Don't
Yeah,
just
and
sit
go with it.
around. Like, just do something. Something's gonna happen. I do see Brandon Defino, big fan in the chat, says Sinju's has never made an incorrect decision in his entire career. I agree with that.
He's not wrong though, is he?
No, no.
No.
You're every decision you made brought you here, my friend, and
And
therefore they were all the right one.
calculated too.
The little touch of the glasses was a lovely choice. So who then stood out on AV from you? You got five people
Mm.
making active decisions. Who were making the best ones?
Well, I got to give a big, 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 big shout out to Violet and Gunkrab. I think that they were pivotal in their team's success. They actually put on a lane kingdom in the bot lane. I
Hmm.
think no one, when you talk about this series, no one expected the Avant bot lane to be like the vocal point or the point in which they can play around. But Gunkrab landed hook after hook specifically on Rare 7. Violet positioning was pretty much close to impeccable. He was pumping out DPS when needed, used stopwatch when needed. He was hitting Varasalt. He was flashing forward. It was the type of aggression that, like I said, it may not be the right thing to flash forward and burn the ult into a QSS,
Yeah,
but like everyone's behind that decision, and
but
they're and
it was a decision.
yes, it was a decision. And so I think, yeah, big shout out to the AV bot lane. They're actually playing some real PogChamp League of Legends. Um, and if they are to take this series, I went from saying API is going to be the person who turns this series around for them.
Hmm.
API into Swiper is going to be the guy that we need to watch. I'm actually leaning towards now seeing AV just put on, pick a real strong 2v2 bot lane and just go for a lane kingdom. It's not too far away. I can see the kingdom in the horizon.
Well then, I mean, that's a worry for Order. Now, when we were watching the game, you were saying that a lot of the stuff that we were seeing happen on Order's side, a lot of their mistakes or the things that brought them to this point, are not one-offs. This is kind of emblematic of Order's split so far.
Yeah, so I said to you that this game that we just saw from Order was their split in a nutshell.
Hmm.
It was sure we won't talk about the laning phase because I don't think we ever see them lose lane too hard. Whatever, we can put that down to an anomaly. But once laning phase ends and you get to 15, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, it's just one person getting picked, another person getting picked.
Mm.
I could count maybe 3 or 4 times Rare 7 got picked. I can count, Swiper's recall getting caught in mid lane that led to AV's Baron. So like it's problems that creep in and become more evident when you're in a high pressure situation like a best of five in playoffs. You start to see your worst habits come through, and the habits you were trying to fix, sometimes they creep in. So what they need now and how they fix this is like there's a leader that steps up, whoever it is, someone steps up in game and says, okay, boys, like, right, that was that game that happened. We let some old habits come back in and that we don't want to see again. And when it gets to 15, 20 minutes, you're basically checklisting. Okay,
Yeah,
mid-wave.
right.
Yeah, not getting caught. Checklist bot lane, checklist top lane. And someone's got to step up because, we've seen this order too many times and we've seen what happens.
Well, to that point, if we've seen Order do this too many times, then how, is it too late to be able to make these changes to themselves when they're in this high pressure scenario? Or is it the fact that Order are a team that are filled with people who are used to being in this position, who are used to coming to these sort of like best of fives, which is so much different than just the sort of one-offs that we see during the regular split, that experience can overcome habit?
I think it's both. I think that they have big game players. They've got players who have historically popped off in big games in pressure environments. They've played in gauntlets, played in finals, played in playoffs. So they have the experience to be able to tone it back a little bit and I use the word pull their heads in. But more importantly, the thing that I find refreshing from Order and the reason why I'm confident they can do that is because their super weeks were really good. They didn't have those mistakes popping into their game. That's why I said Order looks like a team who's steadily improving week to week. And then if you go off their first 2 games, sample size, they're able to do it. It's just that AV pushed them that little bit harder these games. So it's like, it's cool. It's a cool game of like cat and mouse. If AV pushes them a little bit harder, do those mistakes come back in? And then if AV's pushing, have Order learnt their lesson? Can Order just, okay, they're pushing, we'll push back. And not get caught and not let those things come back in. So I think we're in for an interesting series. It's going to be really exciting. And I think that there's 2 polarizing playstyles now. One team's just going full pedal to the metal, and the other team's trying to pull themselves back a little bit and not let their old habits kind of creep in.
Do you feel like AV needed the 2 games before this to warm up?
I definitely think so.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think, I think that AV, just a team with 0 experience in this scenario, right? 0 experience. And it was almost like an adrenaline shot, a wake-up call, and they're like, oh, boys, wait, we're in a playoffs? Wait, we're 2-0 down? Well, there's nothing to lose now. So almost getting 2-0 at the start maybe was the best thing that could have happened to them in a weird way.
No, totally. It's just that kick in the pants that they need. What's behind you on the floor? I'm curious.
I've
been looking at it the entire time. The other side. Is it like a cow rug? Is it a big chocolate milk spill?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is it a table?
Oh, that's a table. Yeah, look.
Is it wood? Oh, it's wood.
Yeah, it's a wooden table.
You're in a tiny screen for me. That's a very nice table.
That's a very expensive table. My parents picked it up a long time ago. It's very nice wood, very good design, very sturdy, very heavy. Also, some chalky eggs that I've been snacking on. So everyone, watch your quarantine diets, please.
Okay. I'm just saying that table looks like it's a good sit for a glass. You put that down, that glass isn't going anywhere.
Nah.
Big fan of that table.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of the next game we got coming up as well. Like you said, we could have a series on our hands. It was looking like Order were just going to roll over them, but AV are fighting back and may have found the spirit that they need to be able to take this to the full 5. Let's find out as we head into Game 4 of Order versus AV with the Macca's Champ Select.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
Welcome back. Here we go. It is game number 4 right now. Avant have just come back into the series in I don't want to say a convincing fashion, but they definitely showed up. They definitely brought it back after Order were in the hot seat just convincingly. And Order had some moments of madness, that is for sure, but Avant were definitely a new leaf, if you want to say, was turned in that they came in with an idea. They were able to find very early leads and were able to then utilize that to stay ahead.
if nothing else, Skibby, it was a surprise. It was a surprise turnaround from the first 2 games to be able to see them very successfully come back into that one, get some momentum and shut out Order pretty easily once they had the lead that they did have. Now, for what it was worth, they had a pretty good composition against Order once they got ahead. They were getting Mountain Drakes as well, which is pretty perfect for them, honestly. 1 tank item apiece, which is like, that's a pretty prime Drake for their comp. And they were able to play it out decently well. You know, the Thresh hooks were connecting from Gunkrab. You have to give respect where it's due. He was hitting the mark. But there were still a lot of things that had to go right for them, you would say. And so this is one of those games where you have to see if they can build off what they earned, or if Order can halt that straight away and say, nah, shut out right now.
What's fascinating to me is just how these pick and bans have slowly been changed. You know, it's always that 1 pick adjustment. Now we're seeing that the Varus is taken away, so much respect shown here by Order towards what Violet can achieve. And Avant, now that they don't have first pick, revert back to what was an Olaf denial all the time. They were actually very fixated on the Renekton, so whether or not that is a pick that will come back to haunt them, we'll have to wait and see. But they go with the Aphelios to make sure that Rare once again has the quote-unquote meta ADC. And Gunkrab will just stick with the Thresh. Why not? The guy is an absolute monster on this pick.
Yeah, it seems to be working out for them so far. I mean, there are some considerations here. You know, the Nautilus pick was okay from Ayla, but we've mentioned this before already in draft phase. It could just be a diffusal pick like a Tahm Kench. It's pretty free to pick when your opponents rush their bottom lane in their first 2 of draft to be able to play League of Legends slower on your bot side and just draft for a winning top side. That's possible. We're yet to see exactly how Order are going to play this draft out. You know, they've already gone for the Renekton, so it's clear to me that they might be wanting to play around that top side as it's Swiper's first game, not on a pure tank.
Exactly, right? He's now going to be able to show what he can do on a pick like this, which we've seen has now transitioned into a more Blade of the Rune King focused build. And based on sort of the performances that he was able to have in the first 2 games at least, he was very much the one that wanted to drive that factor home forwards and get the damage done for his team. So it's so fascinating to me to see these small adaptations in the pick and ban and just to see, well, if you're going to let us have it, we will choose it.
Wow.
And Avant say, well, let's have a Kali.
Yeah, they didn't just say, let's have a Kali. They haven't even seen the mid lane matchup if that's where it's going to go. So it makes me feel like it's top lane. That makes me feel like Arpi has said, I want to play the Akali into the Renekton. And that's one of those matchups, right, where like Renekton's got AoE. He can spin his blade around in a circle and he can heal, but he can't stun the Akali easily. If you project that you're going forward with the slice, the dice proponent can actually be dashed away from if you're Akali. So I actually don't mind this. It's a confidence pick for me, though, and that really is a statement saying that, you know, Swiper is a good tank player, but the second he picks a Bruiser, we have his measure.
Now, where do we go with the second bans? Now, once again, very much the focus is towards the jungle. It's been, I want to say, a fairly noticeable factor for the most part in a lot of these games so far, dictating how they can find these advantages that allows the likes of Chaz or, you know, Rare to come online as a result. The Elise and the Jarvan denied away. Now the LeBlanc as well. It's only gone through the draft once so far, and it wasn't really able to find the kind of success that you expect from an assassin-style mage.
Yeah, LeBlanc is still going to be denied here. You know, the Azir is something that is up and is present, however.
Yep.
Which is what we haven't been able to see from him all series long. It does seem like it's one of his default champions. You know, if you don't know what your lane opponent is going to be, it seems like he always goes that route. And especially with the LeBlanc graciously banned away by his opponents, if Order go for like a Syndra as their last man, which they don't, they continue to focus Lisa, then I think that would have been a clear sign, right, that that's where we were going to be going. Now, I think we wait and see where AV choose to go with this pick. I think it should just be a jungler to hide that solo lane until last.
Jungle options will they have available towards them? They're just going to say, only we're going to take away that Karthus that we know you are so damn proficient on. He's definitely smurfing it. I respect it a lot. What is the response from Order, however? Do they go for the likes of a Sejuani? No, they go for the Nidalee, which is an interesting turnaround. And where do we go now with Hayri? Is he going to lock that Azir in, as you mentioned, to get them that AP damage?
I don't know. I don't know if that's the way to go here. I mean, you could consider something, again, like an Orianna. you don't have the Jarvan in your comp, so it's not as easy to do so. This actually, to me, does make a lot of sense. You've now just straight up gone for a Karthus Light and an Italy who farms and matches the tempo of the Karthus in the jungle. The risk is exactly what you're seeing right now, in that you have given your opponents, you know full well, first of all, that it's going to be a physical damage champion because they've gone for a Kali Karthus.
Yeah.
The remaining solo laner is physical, and Chaz has gone for his Lucian, which he does look confident on when he gets that pick to try and bully out Hayri and keep him down.
Comforts are denied, and comforts are required as well right now. I feel like Avant have a chance to really make this a 2-2 situation. I'm really liking what they've got right now, and the fact that their bot lane duo are going to be very comfortable, very warmed up. And then you've got the ability for this top section of the draft to really pop off as a result. Obviously on the end for Order as well, Renekton slips through the draft finally into game number 4, so he's able to really make an impact happen with that one. The Silas, as you say, a lot of options to steal away, and definitely suiting his playstyle to be that one to engage.
It feels like, to me, Skimmy, we have a lot of measured strategies coming into this game. You know, the fact that they've given the Renekton, they've willingly done so, and then they lock in Akali early. And then you see the Karthus on the other side, and almost instantly was an Italy. You know, it makes me feel like both teams are pretty comfortable with their opponents' drafts because they think they have the answers, and that makes this game even more exciting. You know, are those answers legitimately a thing? Like, we know Italy can keep the pace of a Karthus, but if Karthus gets a single gank off or gets ahead, then he's just going to be relevant regardless. You know, keep farming, dodge the Italy, press R, and your team starts winning trades.
Yeah,
that's always going to be a concern. You haven't gone for the Elise route, or you know, something that's got a super high kill threat on the Renekton lane, and so it's a little bit disjointed compositionally for like ganking, and it's much more about scaling now for both teams.
Well, welcome into game number 4 with Order leading the series 2-1. But Avant, quite honestly, hitting the lottery with a lot of these picks right now, having so many conditions locked in for early, all the way through to late game. You talk about it being at least able to influence from afar or even through a direct lane gank. But the Silas will definitely be very content with what he can deny away as a result. Gunkrab, don't do it. Oh, so disgustingly close. And that would have been a 1 minute first blood, which honestly, Violet doesn't need any more help at this stage. The guy is a monster in his first playoffs.
That would have been, at the very least, both summoners from Red even try and survive that one. That was super close to the hook connecting, just not quite there in time to hit that hook. Gunkrab may even have been able to flash for that one if he really felt like he was going to hit it, but at the end of the day, it's just a forced recall, a little bit behind in the wave perhaps, but Order, you can see, they're not going for that level 1 red buff start on their side with the leash anyway. They're invading.
They are indeed. The Crocodile Hunter leads the charge, lands the stun, Appy down to half, the hook doesn't connect, but Harry actually jumping on in with the chains, forced to burn the flash, and that's first blood onto Chaz, the member on his comfort pick. If he finds a double, would have been very, very dirty.
Oh, that's disastrous. To be honest, that's just everything you want if you're AV. Not only is Gunkrab surprisingly there, they get Chaz a kill. They get Chaz feeling confident. They also make that Italy start solo with Spear on the blue buff, so it's going to take a lot of damage at least, or a lot of time to kite that camp out. Swiper starts with no potion and half health to his name against the Akali. I mean, that's a disastrous start.
And mid lane now having no summoners at all. It's already a rough matchup, right, to go melee against range, but now it just feels like, Avant, you found the dream start to this one. How do you hang on to it, and how do you really utilize it based off the victory from last game?
You can definitely see that they're not perturbed here, though, Order. You've got the AV emote coming out of Rare in bot lane after the hooks go wide. They're still feeling themselves, and for what it's worth, while this is not the best start, you still need to see that consolidation attempt from AV. You know, Lisa gets to start his camps, he doesn't lose any tempo. How will that look around the map, and how will that influence the map? Because so far, it's still pretty successfully farming is only on this Nidalee in comparison to Lisa at the moment. It's still going to be a little bit ahead in jungle tempo. And a similar thing could be said, you know, like, while there's a slight CS lead for Appy, there's going to be a CS lead for Chaz in mid lane, particularly because he's got Ignite against no summoners. CS leads aren't going to just win the game in an isolation. You need to be able to do something with those leads to get more.
And that was going to be my question now as to how does this Karthus look to prioritize? Does he want to power farm to 6 to make himself a valued member of this roster with the Requiem to assist from afar? Or does he want to utilize the fact that, you know, members are low or members have no summoners, in particular mid lane?
I mean, can I ask you the question, Skimmy, on have you ever known a Karthus to prioritize something other than themselves? A very self-indulgent champion. If there is an opportunity to sit there and hard farm your way to 6, you better believe he's going to do that. If he could get a minion wave and just catch it for someone that's recalled, you better believe that's when he'll be there. Most likely, anyway, what we'll see from Lisa is try and get some ganks off when there's no camps left to clear. Right now he's got doubles, so that the potential is there. But ultimately, both junglers will be happy just getting their farm on. Because honestly, both of them, when it comes to farming, are accelerated with the items that they complete. You know, Nidalee at one item, the jungle item completed, speed runs camps.
Doesn't look like, as you say, the spear start for Blue has really impaired her as much as maybe Avant were hoping. As now the top scuttle is achieved by them. Actually, double scuttles now achieved here by Avant, so plenty of vision, plenty of denial to prevent really what has been the factor of only running rampant towards this Drake, always getting the first one, always getting the objective started.
One thing we have noticed, though, even though we're only 4 minutes and 50 seconds in, is that mid lane's pretty boomed.
Yeah.
The CS difference is significant, and not just that, you know, it's a triple lifesteal itemization here from Chaz on his Lucian. Pushing him out of lane is nearly impossible. And he doesn't even need to expend mana on waves anymore with all the lifesteal that he has. He can save that mana for hitting Hayri in the face and making this wave even worse, making this lane even worse. And look at how the wave's set up. He's in struggle streak.
Look at that, the flash play. Lisa rocks on up with that death ball. Out comes the Nord hook, but it's going to be a kill achieved again here by Chaz, punishing the fact that there's no teleport, utilizing his sustain in the lane, and just able to make that lane go from, what, boomed to bust.
Mega boomed. I mean, it's a good read. That's what we could say here from Ayla. Very good read, only also in the right place. Throws a spear and unfortunately does miss that one. So the trade doesn't get the assist anyway. So it could have been better from Order, unfortunately, because at the end of the day, while that was a decent read, it's still Hayri that goes down. It's still Hayri that has 22 CS. And he'll just be thankful that he got that kill above all else. You know, that was money into his pockets. But that experience difference is going to be so big.
Absolutely, going to really impair his ability to make things happen. The Seeker's Arm Guard, the first item here, very cost efficient, obviously with the armor component and what it works towards. But he's going to be very reliant now on those consumables to keep himself sustained here, at least until the teleport comes back online, to have any real ability to farm with safety. Chaz definitely finding a lot of value with the triple sustain to justify the ignite.
The bush. They've walked mid lane. They didn't check the pixel brush. Once they get back on the way, they'll see that there was a ward on their way to mid lane. Just protecting Hayri regardless. They need to crash this wave. They need to crash this at a time where it will then reset, so the tower needs to deal significant damage to this wave if they can. And Chaz seems like he's content to let that one crash and bounce back. Now, that ward from Hayri...
Surely that was meant for the pip.
Makes you think that was meant for the Raptors, but either way, he's got a ward there, so he can't get ganked from that angle. It's Raptors and Red Buff that are about to spawn, which is why I think it's pretty obvious that he just missed the ward when he was aiming for the Raptor camp itself. Lisa now going to commence his second clear of all of the jungle, being level 6, rushing the ability power aspects of his build as well. He's in a pretty comfortable spot so far, but that's not to say that Only's behind. He's actually found himself reasonably ahead.
Absolutely. He's by no stretch of the imagination out of this one. But it's definitely Avant's game to showcase what they can do. With this early lead they were able to find, a lot of that, Rusty, has to really come from the fact that they went for the invade and were just thrown off a lot by the fact that Gunkrab was there.
Yeah, I mean, everyone should be surprised that Gunkrab was there. Even Gunkrab probably only just had spidey senses on the fact that it was happening. But in the right place at the right time, a solid, hard read on their opponents. And you can see how that influences the game state. You know, any early tempo or priority that Order would have been looking to have is even harder to achieve than it would have otherwise been through the draft alone. So it's a significant thing for the start of this game, but we have highlighted this once already. It doesn't mean that the game's over. It just means that the game starts harder.
Definitely does start harder. Harry, well, They're going to have a drive-by occasion in mid lane, and he's going to fall on down very much as a result of that one. Both teams fighting for control towards this Rift Herald. It's going to be Order that get the scuttle. It'll be Order to have the controls down as well to deny the vision.
They could contest this, though. This is risky. Your mid laner doesn't have teleport up just yet and was forced to base.
He'll be up,
Chaz
I want to say, in 10 seconds.
Here.
Chaz will come into this one. Will look to contest. Gunkrab will not land the hook. TP's come out from both of the solo laners. They want to force a 5-man fight right now as Lisa jumps in to find value. Won't use the Requiem until the last minute required. It's going to be all things Order so far as they find kills.
Oh.
They are going to find themselves a triple kill. They say, come at us, force that fight, find that lead. We will win.
Oh, he doesn't even get to reset the Herald, so they secure that one as well. Cute attempt there from Violet, but Swiper gets there in time. And Order just wipe the floor with Avant in that fight. They teleport first, they get in here early, and you're just waiting for that teleport to come off cooldown for Hayri, and it's just in time. So whether that was something AV was tracking or not, unfortunately for them, that's one of the key features here that comes back to hurt them. Now Appy desperately wants to try and go forwards, get some damage, but that Carter's ultimate just doesn't do enough to secure them the kill onto Only. Has a bit of magic resistance there in his back pocket as well. Order, very convincing win.
Very much so, and a lot of that through, quicker rotations and just positional advantage. The Carthus for the dash into the backline to try and make something happen there with the Requiem. Not going to be a factor. The bullet time, quite honestly, just finding damage to assist Order in picking up that subsequent Rift Herald. So not a desirable fight for them to find. And Order, as a result, will get a Drake, will get a Rift Herald, and will find themselves in the gold lead now.
And we had the opportunity last game to highlight Gunkrab's ability to hit those hooks, and I think it's worth pointing out that even though it was a loss, Ayla was still hitting most of the hooks that he was aiming for, and that's still true in this game. That confidence on Nautilus is definitely proving to be worthwhile. That last fight that we saw started from a hook from Ayla, and I think that's something you'll continue to see from him as well, as honestly he's had an outstanding showing on the champ.
Always find it so interesting to, watch the tank engage supports, just to sort of get into their mind and understand, are they looking for defensive hooks? Are they looking for aggressive support, engages? And try to understand really, yes, you can talk about item spikes, you can talk about the state of the game, but just their overall confidence on the champions where you may otherwise default onto more, passive and just sort of, look, I can assist you in making things happen. I'm far too terrified because this pick right now is essentially dead weight. It's unable to find the value. Right now, it's definitely been a case for both of these supports to get the engage, get the value, and get the job done. It's whether or not they can continue that up, because this could potentially be a banger of a series going to full best of 5.
We're starting to hit that point, though, where Gunkrab's readability on his Thresh is becoming a little bit too high. His willingness to throw hooks has been very noticeable, and now it's the Dukes that are actually starting to come through, meaning that those hook rates very low compared to the last game. He's been struggling to find Ayla. Ayla clearly starting to get a hard read on him at the very least, and that really has been an influencer in this game. It's one of those micro interactions. Every Thresh goes through it. Every hook you throw, you have to check what your opponents are doing, and it seems like they've got him downloaded.
It's going to be a big swing of the tempo right now, as they're going to zone Appy away from this tower, get the second Drake to their name, and it's summon the Rift Herald for the full execution. 2 turret plates remain, they are deleted, and they're going to look to try and push this wave in for a potential second headbutt.
Yeah, and it looks like it will be off completely uncontested here. AV, when you look at where the rest of their members are, Chaz recalling top, Thresh fresh off the reset, so they're not going to be here to stop this one at all. A second charge gets in. You've also got Rare holding mid lane in what was a 1v2, perhaps more, he doesn't know. Pretty successfully. There hasn't been any pressure put towards him right now. Who is it that could pressure him? Well, he doesn't have flash or heal, so a hook is meaningful. Akartha's wall sets that up very nicely as well, and Gunkrab has the flash, so he does need to show some serious respect for what his opponents can do. But, it's promising, and the reason I'm saying this is because he hasn't died. And that's refreshing.
Absolutely. And
I love
it's refreshing.
Rare, but he loves dying.
It's refreshing to see that he's able to stand around and keep up here. Because the fact is, right now, he's got to be that damage from afar, that respect, as Hayri continues to fall behind in this one, down by maybe between 40 to 50. Everywhere he goes, Chaz responds. And he's just going to walk into his face. Double ultimates come out. He does get the trade. Thankfully for him, he much needed that. That may just be enough to find some form of value as the Proto Belt is there.
Surprising that he was able to get the trade at all. When you look at the state of those mid laners, I mean, Hayri does exceptionally to make that happen. But now they pressure mid, hooks on.
They do. Depth charge comes out. Stopwatch underneath tower. Bullet time to zone them away. Likes to be used to survive here and prevent that tower falling as a result too. Swiper was definitely keen as he was on the hunt from that flank.
Yeah, good vision here actually from AV as a gun crab ults only in a decent amount of trouble there, but they are both just disengaged. The pressure continuing, it was bot side pressure from Swiper. Now it's top side pressure from the rest of Order. Anywhere that is near mid lane, it seems like they want to control it outright and then really blow the map open if they can.
Speaking of blowout, she spoke about what happens when Nidalee gets their completed item for the jungle online, and definitely has allowed her to hyper-accelerate her lead in this jungle. Up by 20 now. Always having the read on the map as to where to respond to. Has the Dark Seal now in her pocket. So looking to try and influence in some kills, and he's going to come up here to babysit Harry, because you can imagine every single time Ches shows face, he is looking to force fights.
Yeah, he's the Ignite Lucian. He wants to be aggressive, wants to punish on every single last hit that Hayri goes for. Guncrab in a world of trouble.
Yeah, Guncrab had the read on that one and he wanted to assist, but he's going to pay the ultimate price right now as the pounce comes out and Aphelios gets kill secured. Find it at a very desirable time with Rift Herald soon to spawn.
Yeah, it's one of those Spidey sense things, you know, it was dangerous to go top lane alone, but he chooses to go up there anyway, just to check. And then he gets punished with death from the Nidalee, who is able to find him in a nice position there to take him down. No reinforcements from the rest of AV. It protects the Lucian, but the cost was a little bit too high, I think it's fair to say.
Both have an understanding of the map state, but one just having the superior influence on the map as a result. Lisa will take that opportunity to go in for an invade and steal away not only the Raptors, but the red buff too. A nice little acquisition here, right under the nose of the entire Order lineup, right? You know, Nidalee is well on the way. The rest of the members are defending mids. Nice little acquisition there to get him back online with double buffs.
Still starting to snowball this game further and further though is Order. You know, this is one of those games where with Infernal in 50 seconds, I think that is one of those pressure cookers. And for AV, you have to look at the items that they start to complete before that pressure actually mounts. And I would say at this moment, you know, with the Gunblade, with the Blade of the Ruined King, with the Essence Reaver there as well for Violet, they are fighting fit. And this is one of those Drakes that you may not want to give over for free, not because it's an Infernal, but because it's the third and sole point for Order.
Absolutely. And it will be a delayed Blade of the Ruined King on that Renekton, as he has gone for the Black Cleaver Rush instead, aiming to be the hybrid tank, if you will. Give them much needed shred to burst through a lot of these squishy members, quite honestly. There is not a, you know, standalone traditional tank on this Avant roster. They just have buckets load of damage, so if they can be met with a spear or a bit of action from Aphelios swiping through those weapons, then they will be deleted.
Drake started here by AV. No contest on the other side, though, here, Skimmy. So it's interesting, because I'm just talking about how important it may be to try and pressure that soul point. It seems like Order have the gold values in mind more than anything else. So they'll actually get the Herald. They'll prioritize the mid lane outer turret. And now that actually opens up the Silk Road to top lane outer, you know, and it makes it a little bit easier to break down another turret, blow the gold lead even further out. And I think that, you know, if you're going to compare the two, getting an Infernal Drake threatening the Infernal Soul, or actually going for two turrets, blowing open the map control, getting better vision, and then just getting another free Drake in 5 minutes with more gold in your pockets, Order have made a very good choice for themselves to keep snowballing this game.
100%. I support that decision, and now completely all the others have fallen on down here from Avant. And this is a familiar situation where Order will just go straight into your jungle, lay down as many traps as possible, and just always have that read on the map to say, we know where you are, we can find those angles, we can get those kills. Appy in a situation where he's forced to try and defend a tower. Not the most desirable situation if you find yourself as an Akali.
Yeah, looking to trade objectives at the moment, as best they can anyway. Chaz, note that it is not the teleport user who will be able to influence fights. So if you see that Lucian in a side lane, you'll be very aware that the way they want to play this one is try and keep Chaz against anyone. I don't think that he has too big of a preference for his 1v1 matchup right now. It could be Swiper, it could be Hayri, and then just try and pressure those turrets in the 1v1 sense. He still needs to be careful though. The way that you could play this out if you were Order, and I think that's what they will start doing, is put Hayri and Swiper in the same lane. If AV continue to show a propensity to that, to sitting in side lane, to just let Chaz win the game, use a Karthus ultimate and pressure the 1v1, then you bring 2 down there. They both have teleport. That's an advantage that Order have that AV don't. And I think that could be a difference maker in the macro map movements that we'll start to see.
I just get more and more concerned every single time Chaz comes back from this base, because I keep an eye on his CS counter, and it's getting very well close to that 200 mark. I mean, he's had his read on this lane from the get-go, up by about 60 now, Rusty. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you want to talk about CS values as well. Don't forget about Violet. He's got 196 at 19 minutes. He's keeping up with his mid lane compatriot there in Chaz. They're doing very well for himself, and I think that the thing that you're trying to highlight here is that Hayri has 130.
Yeah.
And that's not a lot. Now, what he does still have is 2 full items, so he's not actually that much weaker than that of his lane opponent, even though it's 60 CS. And I feel like that's really surprising, right?
Compared to, you know, yep, you got a Zhonya's and a Proto Belt. Yeah, he's got the Blade of Rune King and the Black Cleaver, so slight cheaper item, slight easier ability to get himself online and influence in these fights. Really keen to see what kind of ultimate he decides to choose when they go for these all-out brawls with the 5v5.
Yeah, this is... I still want to say this is better than the first game for AV. I think that's obvious, but we are waiting once again for that moment, if that makes sense. Order is starting to build pressure, and you can feel like, at least in the red side quadrant, they have control. AV have now traded sides of the map, and with a Drake in 1 minute and 40 seconds, you feel like that's going to be the moment. But I don't know if either team feels exceptionally pressured to take that fight. You know, a mistake could be a Baron, and it's only an Infernal Drake. While it scales up nicely in the late game, it doesn't mean too much at the immediate moment. So we could hit a lull state where a mistake, like a pick, you know, Guncrab hitting another hook that he was doing expertly last game, Ayla could do the same, could actually just result in a Baron. And so a lot of respect needs to be shown.
And respect it will be right now as both these teams look to establish that much-needed vision. Oh, Guncrab, no! Flashes and misses the entire combo and gets punished exceptionally here by Ayla. The bullet time comes out as the box slows them in place. A double ultimate to slow down the aggression, but it will not slow these members down. The croc goes in and he swipes a double. Lisa down to 1 HP. What am I talking about? He's got half a chance. That's what I'm after. And they snipe it, and it's this man here in the mid lane that is able to achieve it.
Oh, you hate to see it, Skibby. Oh, why are we... Oh, get it off the screen. Oh, Guncrab. That's so tragic. He's gone. I mean, realistically, we didn't even get to see all of this, but Chaz has just been ruined by Swiper on the bottom side. 0 HP to his name. Lisa has no mana to contribute, so this is why, like, Karthus with no mana has to choose, do I die? Like, do I int because I can ult? Or do I run away? Like, how is this fight going? Would I make a difference with my ult? And that deliberation from Lisa is enough time for him to just die anyway and be killed by the chase from Order, who convincingly won that fight. Here we go, Violet in trouble.
They are looking for it time and time again. Now the Drake is up. They get the Baron as a result of that successful team fight. They want more, however. Guncrab is the focus. His damage will not connect. The hook sidesteps.
Nice
Can he disengage
dodge.
himself away? He does not need to. They survive just a little bit longer. Now the Drake engage looks to take place. You can sense the
Swiper
tension
flanking.
here.
He's looking for the fights. Give me the hooks on.
Oh, it's on again. Guncrab whiffing completely. Bullet time is able to do a lot of damage to slow them out, but it will not matter. The Dragon is picked on up. Chaz finds himself a kill this time. He's able to get that shutdown. The stopwatch will survive, and he will not die to Requiem. But it's looking like Avant are the one hunting on down with Order down low. The cannon will lock him in place. Buffs acquired, but Avant's still showing what they're made of.
Yeah, I mean, a close trade there. That was with AV having all of their ultimates up as well. So that was closer than Order would have liked, but they do at least get the Infernal Drake. So they secure the objective. And it was after a lot of do-si-doing from Gunkrab to enable AV to even be in this position. Hook starts and it's onto Uppy, who's able to just use a Shroud if he feels threatened anyway. So Gunkrab instead will just sacrifice himself and stand in front. And then from this moment, you know, they're fighting on top of the Karthus if they want to. And he has the ultimate available. This time AV execute their team fight properly. But Order do still get the Drake.
Teamfight aside, as you say, Order definitely the ones that will say, we'll take that. We are that bit closer now to getting that unleashed power online with the Infernal Soul, but it definitely shows that they have a lot of damage left in this pocket, that they can definitely dig deep if need be to find themselves able to go toe-to-toe, despite the goal now starting to fall ahead of them. 4K is the lead here for Order, sitting at 44. Just need to see how they can look to juggle these minion waves, and if they can find any value at all with the remnants of this Baron buff.
Yeah, you've got your 2-item Renekton now running around, absolutely rampaging on Summoner's Rift if someone comes near him. So you can see Chaz actually hovering Uppy, neither of them having teleport and Order having Baron. Not the best map setup if you were AV to stop the push that's going to be coming out of Order. You can see them now start to try and collapse in mid. And all Order need to do is harass. Great spear from Only. Continue this, and Silas is just going to break top turrets as well. So throw your spears, hit your marksman Aphelios Qs, and lifesteal back up and watch as the gold lead just skyrockets.
Absolutely. I mean, the combination between those two in particular is really allowing them to zone Avant away. You know, this duo of Avant forced us to concede pretty much everything here. And Avant seeming a little bit shy to the opportunity to try and find those hooks right now. Hasn't been able to find them in the last two exchanges. They pay the ultimate price again.
Base.
Turret falls on down. They want this inhibitor 25 minutes in or to find the best situation possible.
Yeah, they get it very successfully. No contest there from AV in response. And that's one of those things, right? Like, Nidalee hits a single spear at the same time as Rare hitting one of those sniper Qs, and suddenly there's no health on Violet. And if Violet has no health to his name, pretty hard to contest the rest of that push as they just constantly onslaught of arrows and spears.
Ayla! He read it like a book. He gets it. He connects with absolutely everything. He will take that kill away from Hayri, but he will break open the side lane. And Chaz, you know, despite being so far ahead, forced to clear these side lanes, is going to have to respond to this. And it's not going to be a nice time for him.
Yeah, but how do they respond? Oh, the flash.
Again! Flashes in with the flay of the hook, will not connect. Requiem, what can it achieve? Nothing at this stage. Actually, it got cancelled. Now it comes out. Stopwatch is used. Stopwatch is successful. But I'm seeing AD carries picking up the kills. And they are incredibly strong now.
Yeah, that was a very aggressive move here from AV, and it was very good from them in the end. You know, once they have their ultimates, when those are available, you get to see what they're truly capable of. Hayri comes in and steals the Karthus ultimate at the start of this fight, and then Lucian just smacks Rare up. No one stands in front, no one tanks for him. And it was actually Hayri channeling the first Karthus ultimate while sitting there in a bullet time, in an entire bullet time. So he has no health left, and they just dash forwards and run him down.
I will be honest there, Rusty, it did throw me off for a second. To see two Karthus ultimates, then I remembered that Silas is a thing in this game. So there you have it. Silas and Karthus in general, just OP.
He just channeled a full Karthus ultimate while Misfortune just... like, oh my god, that poor guy. He didn't know it was coming. And then it comes at you quick.
That has to be a soundbite, surely. How Rusty describes channeling a Requiem. You're in the middle of an ADC.
It's Rusty living with people, so he doesn't want to yell.
Oh no! Gunkrab in trouble again. This combination between his bottom Joe every single time, it is on point. They're looking for the flanks, they're looking for the flashes. They are unable to find a kill target, and the tanks start to reign supreme. The damage that they can actually really output onto the disengage.
It's the soul. They're going to get it. They're going to prevent the soul. At the very least, that's a big win here from AV. They're stuck on the disengage. Order are still chasing them down, but they get the objective. They have supers on their Nexus, so there are still some concerns here if they were to die. But they might have done enough to at least get some recalls off.
Such a delicate situation right now. They need to make sure they can find it. They do. Gravitum is just OP. The hook connects. One recall goes off in the bush. And Violet with the passive will be able to run away from harm. 3 members chasing. Does Ayla have the ultimate? He does not. And Swiper gets in there with the TP, securing a Nexus turret as well. Cue the Benny Hill music.
Yeah, Hayri actually takes down Uppy in the base as well. Violet is a very fast champion, so this is kind of comical. I mean, honestly, there's only so much map that you've got left, but it seems like he's done enough just walking in a straight.
Well, he managed to run away from his problems, that is for sure. It just buys so much time for Order to dictate what happens on this map. And that is Baron now achieved. You've denied us the soul point, but we'll pick up the second Baron. Now off a fresh recall, we can come back in and we can make things happen. I'm seeing Rusty in the chat say his PC's turned off. So I guess we are at it with a solo cast from this point onwards. Regardless, team, here we are. Baron achieved. Order 2-1 in this series. This game, if they were to win, would secure them the victory, would advance them through, and would get them a shot at taking on whoever wins between the Chiefs and Direwolves. That is coming up after this, bear in mind. Another best of 5. And it won't be Legacy showing until tomorrow, guaranteed by the fact they got first seed in the regular split. It's a do or die moment right now here to see exactly how Avant can handle this situation. There are no summoners available for this misfortune. Incredibly tough for him to survive. The amount of damage that comes at him, the punishment that can become really unreal as a result of having no mobility. Going to be up to see what Chaz can achieve with this one. If he can find a big culling to pad these members low, to get these members online, to make the bullet time reach its full value. But Inhibitor will fall down again. That is mid lane broken. Bottom lane soon to follow. Silas stealing away the Requiem. Zoning these members away from that second Inhibitor. Now they look to try and turn their attention towards the Nexus. Only one turret remaining. Order very close now to securing victory. The hook will not land. And I think Carpenter's Wall would have been just enough to slow down the mobility to make it happen. Chaz needs to make something happen. You can see how aggressive he is to try and make it a reality right now. Moonlight Vigil coming on out. Harry destroying Guncrab. The Nexus turret will fall on down. The Nexus is exposed. Stopwatches galore again. Misfortune fighting for her life. Avant, what can you do? You need to find a shutdown, but you will be shut down. And Avant are knocked out. And Order will go 3-1. A slight blip on the map. A slight moment of worry, but they managed to bring it back, and boy, those were some scary times. They are able to execute and bring this game back into quick contention. And Rusty, do we have you back? Are you back online with us?
I don't know, am I?
You're back in the mix of things. Rusty, you've just missed an absolute closing to a game. Order have won. They're 3-1, and I think you were so excited. I'm assuming Windows updates just came in clutch there.
Oh yeah, no, dude, I was just so pumped. I fist pumped the air and somehow my computer turned off in excitement. I don't know, man. Congrats, Order.
Well, I'm going to let you work out what's going on in that department. You keep smiling. We're going to go to a quick break. And when we return, it's the boys in the couch to break down that series.